Hello, Ms. Chitra. Hi, welcome to the live.
Hi, Divyam.
Hi. Hey guys, um, I apologize for the delay. There were some technical issues that we were facing, but I think now we have cleared them. Hi, welcome. Okay. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Right?
All right. So, for everyone that is joining us just now, welcome to the IELTS webinar. Today, we are going to be helping you out and giving you ways or tips and tricks on how to prepare for your IELTS. Things that you may already know, but we can tell you how to be more efficient. We can tell you how to get your preparation done in the perfect way possible, in the quickest way possible, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, ma'am, why don't we start off with a simple question? What, first let's start off with your introduction. Can you tell them a little
No
bit
problem.
about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Chitra V, and I've been an English teacher and trainer for more than 20 years now. Out of that time, for the last 10 years, more than 10 years, I've been associated with the IELTS, first as an examiner, and then later as a trainer, IELTS trainer. So that continues until today. So I'll be happy to help anyone who has some queries or needs some clarification regarding the IELTS.
Great. And, a lot of people nowadays need to clear their IELTS for, their further education for a lot of different reasons. And I'm sure you have dealt with a lot of people who need help in a particular situation, right? So, can you tell me one of the common, questions that you get asked in terms of preparing for their IELTS?
Yes, actually, the very common question is should I start my preparation with the IELTS materials, the test materials, straight away, or should I focus on improving my general English? So, this is a very common query.
Nice. Okay. So, Chitra ma'am, today you will be asked a lot of questions by our community. We have a very active community, and I'm sure a lot of them need help with their IELTS preparation. Um, in terms of basically preparation time, what would you say is the average time a person would need to prepare from scratch, from start?
Uh, well, that's a good question. And it actually depends on the candidate's level,
Mm-hmm.
language level. So, if he or she already has a reasonably good level in English, meaning they can speak fluently, they can write an essay or a report quite well without much help, then probably around 2 months, 2 or 3 months should be sufficient if they're focused and they put in that kind of effort, that regular effort that is required. However, if the candidate feels that their language level is a little below average, they need some more support, some more help, then obviously it'll need more time, maybe anywhere from 5 to 6 months. So first, they probably need to start working on their overall English skills, improving their language, their vocabulary, achieving fluency while speaking in English, working on all those things in general, and then, or they can even do it side by side, but it'll take more time.
Nice, nice, great. I think that answers our question really well. So we have a lot of people joining in right now. Welcome to the webinar, guys. Today we'll be clearing out all of your doubts related to IELTS preparations and how you can ace your IELTS exam, your coming IELTS exam. Chitra ma'am, now this is a very basic question. I know we're going back a little bit, we're backtracking a little bit, but what is IELTS? I hear this all the time and I'm not really sure what's going on because people are going crazy over it. They're taking tuitions, they're taking sort of coaching classes, and I just want to hear from you, like, what is what is IELTS? Like, just give us a crash course or like some sort of background
Starting
on that.
from stage one, from from square one. So IELTS is an English language proficiency exam, and it's a very standardized test. The IELTS is actually an acronym. It's a short form. It's a short form, sorry, for International English Language Testing System, and it includes all the four skills, namely listening, reading, writing, and speaking. It's highly valued by universities and companies abroad, employers abroad, especially in the English-speaking countries, because it's a very standardized test. So the band score that you get in IELTS, is seen to be a very standard assessment of your English language level. And very often you get admission to universities and colleges, or you get a job. You get a job based on that abroad. So it's something quite highly valued today, I think, by people.
So I think if we had to say it, we would say that IELTS is basically an indicator of how good you are at communicating with, let's say, English native speakers, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. How good you are at communicating and understanding communication in English, because you have both the receptive as well as the productive skills, right? You have listening and reading, where you are understanding information in English, either through listening to it or reading it. And you have the speaking and the writing, where you are producing texts in English, either in the spoken form or in the written form. So it's a very comprehensive test in English.
Right. Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds difficult, honestly, because if I was preparing for it, I would be nervous as well. Okay.
It's not a sorry to interrupt, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's a difficult test, and sort of, because I don't want to scare prospective candidates or students. It's only that you need to put in the kind of regular effort. That's what I keep telling students. It's not an exam where you can just learn something by heart and get your required band score. It doesn't work that way. And it's actually, you're developing your life skills. So becoming a good speaker in English, being able to write good text, essays, or letters in English, listening and understanding English. These will be essential skills if you are going abroad to an English-speaking country. So it's not just preparing for the test; it's developing your life skills that will help you in your academic as well as professional career.
Wow, that sounds quite interesting. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. We had a survey. We had basically asked a couple of our followers to fill out some sort of Google forms. And I'm going to be asking you the questions that they have asked you in the form. These are the questions they would like to ask Chitra ma'am. The first question is obviously that which aspect of IELTS do you think is the most difficult when it comes to the general public in India, right? Because as a community or as a population, there are ways in which we can understand that, hey, Indians may not be that great at speaking. They may be good at writing or reading, right? They can pull off like I think 6 or 7 band. And when it comes to speaking, though, it becomes a little difficult because it lowers your average. So in your experience, which aspects of IELTS is the most difficult? Can you please tell us?
From my experience, students usually want support. They want more help, of students in the sense of prospective candidates, and usually in speaking and in writing. So as you'd mentioned that probably the majority, I mean, most of us don't really speak in English all the time. Maybe we speak in English only when there is a particular requirement, like, something happening in college or for an interview, professional interview. Otherwise, we have our own language. We have our mother tongue, which we are more comfortable in. And same goes for writing. But I think the problem with writing is that the way we approach writing in Indian schools and colleges, the way we approach teaching and assessment of writing is quite different from the IELTS approach.
Mm.
So I guess those are the two modules, reading, listening, speaking and writing are the two parts of IELTS that I think generally Indians have to work more on, put in more work.
Great. And if you were assessing someone and you noticed that they were weak in these sort of aspects of IELTS, what sort of advice would you give them to get started? For someone who's a beginner, who's just trying to crack the IELTS exam for the first time.
I would say, first thing I'd say is just immerse yourself in English. That's what I actually tell them. So listen to as much good English, standard English as possible, which is not too hard. You have YouTube and you have such a lot of resources on the internet. Secondly, write every day. Writing and speaking you must do every day. Get hold of some IELTS test materials, authentic test materials, which again which isn't too difficult. Of course you can start practicing with those, but side by side, try to improve your general level of English, communicate as much in English as possible in all the four skills. Try to improve all the four skills, general knowledge of the skills, general practice in the skills, as well as practicing for the actual test with the test materials.
Right. So I think general exposure to English would prepare you for unforeseeable situations where someone has asked you something. It's easy to get nervous and just panic. I think I've seen a lot of learners do that. I do that myself sometimes when I'm stuck in a situation where I'm completely taken aback, that someone has mentioned, started talking about a topic that I don't know anything about, or they've asked me a question and they completely catch me off guard. So I think what you're saying makes sense, because the more we prepare, the more we practice, the more our brain realizes that, hey, this is not a big task. It's just a simple question. It's just a simple topic. And we can tackle this just how we tackle every other problem in our lives. It's just that we are not used to doing it.
Yes.
Yeah. So the panic can kick in. Okay. I think Rishi has an interesting question. He has asked us how to remember vocabulary. So I think, let me rephrase the question. How to remember or improve your vocabulary?
So this again, a lot of students have this question and they really want to work on their vocabulary, the range of vocabulary they use. You have to take the effort. You have to take just by listening to something on the media, or just by reading newspapers. Of course, all those are good things, but that doesn't automatically lead to your vocabulary improving. So I always recommend keeping a vocabulary book. I'm a bit old school in that way. So it can just be a regular notebook where you note down a few good words and phrases related to the topic every day, or it can even be in a digital format if that's what works for you. And whenever you read something, you come across good words and phrases which you feel you can incorporate into your active usage, note them down. But noting them down is not enough. You may have hundreds of words in your vocabulary book and you may not be using even 10 of them. So we have to make a conscious effort to include maybe 5 or 6 or 10 or 15 new words into our vocabulary every week in a very systematic manner.
Yeah.
This has to be a conscious effort, because some of us have a lot of passive vocabulary. We recognize, we understand a lot of words, but we don't actually bring all that into active usage.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to do, and that has to be a very conscious effort.
Yeah. So I think the best way to kind of summarize this is, I've had this as well. Sometimes I'm taking a session and a learner has a question for me. What I notice is that whenever I use intermediate level or advanced level words, they don't ask me the meaning of it. They know what it means. They know exactly what it means. But the implementation of those words in their sentences or vocabulary is what is missing. That's why they, come for the sessions. So they can sort of be more fluent and they can use that theoretical knowledge and convert it into, practical experience. I think that is what the problem is. And I think I absolutely agree with your advice, because, get yourself in a situation where you can use these especially at Clapingo, because this is what Clapingo is really good at, because you get to come here, experiment, you get to try new things, you get to see the reaction. The expert tutor can tell you, hey, I know what you're trying to do, but it's not quite there, right? So focus on this, or say it in a different way, or correct your syntax or correct your grammar before you say that. But I think you are on the right track, and that is where slowly through baby steps we can all try to
Yes.
perfect our communication.
And you'll be surprised how much you improve if you do that regularly, if you're practicing regularly and you're implementing the feedback that your teacher or trainer gives you and incorporating the new vocabularies they suggest. You'll be amazed, but it has to be consistent effort. So it can't be just like 3 hours one day and then, maybe a couple of weeks later you come back to it. That doesn't work. It has to be regular because it's a
Correct.
skill. Language learning is a skill.
Yep. And like every skill, we'll have to be
Is
consistent.
regular practice.
We'll have to be consistent, and we'll have to have good resources, right?
Right.
Where we could learn new things. I think I think Asha has a really nice question. She said, this is what she said. I think we should all read The Secret book. I think what she's saying is we should all read the book, The Secret. Okay. And it will help a lot of you for building confidence. Have you read that book, Chitra?
Yeah, some point I did read, and I was actually quite inspired by it to start manifesting whatever I wanted and all that. Yeah, it's a good idea because I think focusing on what you really want to achieve. So if it's your immediate goal is achieving a certain band score in IELTS, then why not? I mean, if you focus on it, if you think about it, and you already know, sometimes when you're preparing well, you already know that I'm going to get my, so it's not a dream for you. It's not something you're thinking about. But like they say in secret, you already know it. You're already experiencing it. And that's because you're preparing well. You're doing everything it takes to get your band score. And so then there you go. You achieve everything you want in life. All your dreams come true.
Nice. Guys, if you have read the book or if you think you would be interested in that, let us know in the comments. Let us know what your experience was. Let us know how you felt when you read it, or when you read the summary of it, or when you saw a video of a YouTuber or someone recommend this book. What was your reaction? Did you think that, okay, this is not my kind of book? Did you think, oh my God, this is something that would really change my life, right? Check it out. It is a really good book. I haven't read it, but I know the concept of it. I've seen enough videos to know what it's about and what it's trying to teach us, right? So if you don't want to read the book, at least go to YouTube and
there's
see
a
a
movie.
video.
For people who are not into reading, you can always watch the movie.
Yeah, I think I've heard that the movie is not as good as the book.
No, probably no.
Yeah, so whatever you guys are comfortable with, please check it out. Okay. All right, so we have a couple of questions that are, I think I've ignored them a little bit, so let's just get to them. Asha has asked another good question. This is not related to IELTS, but I think we can answer this. Can a person improve his or her spoken English within 4 months? Because I have an interview and I'm very nervous right now. I think, Asha, we are all nervous before an interview. We can't change that, but we can get you more comfortable, right?
Absolutely. And you can, absolutely, why not? You can improve in 4 months. I mean, 4 months is quite a lot of time to improve your English.
Yep.
If if you are practicing with the interview questions and maybe get your friends or someone in the family to give you mock interviews, get a list of 50 frequently asked interview questions, and I think the mock interviews really help. In fact, I've used that myself before interviews. So because you're actually going through that experience of facing an interviewer and maybe answering difficult questions, you'll be amazed by how much it helps you. And we have these thoughts in our minds, but then the problem is when we say them, sometimes the structure comes out all wrong. It comes out a bit jumbled. So the minute you start taking mock tests meaning you actually have someone sitting in front of you and asking you these questions, you'll find that you'll really improve in that aspect. You will start speaking or answering more coherently, with better structure, with better vocabulary. You will start remembering the words that you actually, because one problem that a lot of people have, they forget words. Saying, ma'am, I learned like 25 words, and then at that point I was stuttering and stammering. But if you keep practicing, if you keep using those words when you speak during these mock interviews or these practice interviews, you will remember the words.
Yeah.
So you have to make, I always say, you have to make words your friends. And because if you're there for them, then they'll be there for you as well, just like friends. You know, if you just write them down somewhere and forget about them, obviously they won't come to your aid when you actually need them. So yeah, mock interviews will do the trick. 4 months is more than enough, I think.
Right. Thank you. That was really intricate answer, and I think that will help a lot of us who are actually trying to prepare for it. We have another question here. Before I mention, before I talk about it, I think one thing you guys need to do is put in your questions in the chat, whether it's related to IELTS, whether it's related to general English, improvement, whatever help you need. We would love to answer you. We have about 5 or 7 minutes left before we end the live, and we would love to help as many of you as possible. Okay, so put in your questions in the comments. If you're watching this after the live is over, put in your questions in the comments as well. We will try to get to them as soon as possible on YouTube, and we will reply to your comment with your answer. And I hope Chitra ma'am will help us with the answer in that.
So I'm here.
Yeah. So we have a question. I think Khadija has asked, what qualifications are required for IELTS? And we will reply to your comment with your answer. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just mute it. Yeah, not a problem. So we have a question. All right. So I think IELTS is a it doesn't come in any sort of syllabus, or it's not like you need to have any sort of specific qualifications, if I'm not wrong. I think you can clear your 12th and apply for this, and you will be allotted a time slot, or like, let's say a month in which you can sort of give your exams, right?
You don't have to even pass your 12th grade.
All right.
Yeah, because I mean, even if you're studying in 11th or 12th, you can take the IELTS. There's no particular qualification required, but I haven't had any candidates below the age of 15. So I don't know if there's an age limit. We'll have to check that out. But generally, students start preparing and they write the IELTS at around maybe 15 or 16 years. I don't think they're asked for any particular qualification.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, guys. Flex, that's a really cool name, by the way. Flex, how much grammar is required for spoken English? That's the next question.
Enough grammar to make sure that people understand what you're saying. So, obviously you start small, you start with short sentences and maybe with very basic functions like introducing yourself, what would you say when you meet a new acquaintance, the English that you would need probably for the basic functions like going shopping or going to the hospital. Start small and then you can start building up your grammar. Having said that, I wouldn't say grammar is the most, this is a controversial topic, but grammar is the most important thing, in English while learning any language. I feel, like I said earlier, if the person, communication is most important. Communication is the key. So if the person you're speaking to can understand the gist of what you're saying, they get the main idea which you're trying to communicate, that's great. That's a good beginning. And I think that's where you should focus, because when you're speaking, if you think too much about your grammar, that will obviously affect your confidence. It'll affect your fluency. You'll start hesitating and trying to remember words or phrases. So focus on your idea, focus on communication. and side by side, you can keep working on your language, trying to improve your grammar, etc. So, as Divyam was saying, if you join a platform like Clapingo, the teachers will give you good feedback about your grammar and vocabulary. And if you make sure that you're incorporating those things into your spoken language, that's great. But don't make grammar the whole focus of your language learning, efforts.
I've seen so many learners, they come to the session and all they focus on is grammar. And I keep telling them, listen, if you keep doing that, you're not going to have you'll never be able to relax and just make a sentence, just have a normal conversation. They get so overwhelmed with being grammatically correct that they can't even form basic sentences.
Yeah.
Right. And I keep telling them, listen, you're overthinking, just relax, just think of an idea, think of a sentence that you want to say to me, a story or anything, and just let it flow. Just calm down, take a deep breath and just let it flow. Try to use the correct words. Don't focus too much on which there are so many
use and which
exactly
to use.
Yeah. If there's a
Any
mistake,
of us
I'll
would
let you
get
know.
stuck, right? If we start thinking in that way. And something nice you can do on your own. So a lot of students have this problem. They don't have anyone to speak to in English at home, or maybe even in in their school or college. So speak to yourself, and they say, what? But yeah, why not? And nowadays you have your mobile, so you can actually record yourself. Speak on any topic. It can be a current, some current topic, something that you read in the newspaper. It can be something, maybe if you're having some kind of a program the next day, something you might want to say at school or college, anything. I mean, just speak in English, record yourself, and listen back. Listen to yourself. So that's the time when you're listening. I mean, in the beginning, it's a bit, nerve-wracking to listen to yourself speak, but then you get used to it. And that's the time you can think about how to improve, about corrections. Not at the time, live you're speaking to someone. You don't want to keep thinking about grammar and vocabulary then. It's during these, practice sessions, self-assessment, I call it. Just listening to yourself and trying to improve that way. Or some people actually speak to the mirror. If that works for you, fine, why not?
Yeah.
But you should speak in English every day. Spend at least 15 minutes every day. I mean, 15 minutes is better than no time. Yes. If you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, practice speaking in English to yourself, or to the mirror, or whoever is around.
Consistency is the most important, guys. Just remember that. Okay. Lots of interesting questions. Oh my God. One quick question. I think this will just be a 1 or 2 word answer. Arundhati has asked us, are there any minimum age requirements or age limits for this exam?
Not as far as I know. But like I said, I think considering the questions, the topics, the questions, and the content of the test, you should wait till you're at least 14 or 15 years old before you write the test. Otherwise, it will be too difficult for you.
Yeah. Second, I think Monopal, I hope I'm saying that right, Monopal has asked us a couple of times how to use active voice and passive voice, and what are the rules to implement these?
That's a very heavy grammar topic.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I think let's clear out the small questions first, and then maybe if we have the time, we'll clear it out. Okay. Asha said I read some books, and then I explained that what I have read in English. Sometimes I do record myself. Yeah. So Asha, that's a good exercise. What you can also do is read a small article in a newspaper or on your online news app, right? And then challenge yourself that, I'm going to make a 2 or 5 minute video presenting or narrating this story.
Great. Yeah. Lovely activity.
Yeah. Another thing you could do in the same vicinity of this exercise is basically just storytelling about your own life, right? So there are 2-3 things you'll have to pay attention to. When it comes to storytelling from your own life, you don't have to think of the content. You already know the content. You're just focusing on expressing what you're trying to say. But when it comes to a random topic that you've picked out from, let's say, a newspaper or a magazine, any sort of, place, outside place, basically, I'm trying to say. You have to think of the content and how to express it. So that can be quite difficult. So you can keep changing the difficulty level according to how confident you're feeling, right? So you can start the day by making a 5-minute video on the last time you visited Delhi, or the last time you went to a hill station with your parents or with your cousins, right? And then if you feel confident, you can increase the difficulty level and just pick out a random news article, read only the headline, and then just create a story out of nothing, right? So if the storyline is sorry, if the headline is something to do with XYZ state in India has defunded its education system or reduced the amount of money they're going to put in the education system, don't read the rest of the article, just read the title and make up your own story. You can say that this was the reason they did it. They were facing some sort of emergency, so they had to divert the funds in that direction, right? So come up with new ideas, look at it from different angles and perspectives, and I'm sure you can come up with some sort of ways to, this is more of a thinking exercise on how to get out of a troublesome situation. When you don't know the topic, how do you get out of it? I hope you agree with me, Chitra.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And as a follow-up, you can even write a summary in your, keep a journal. You can just write a summary.
Yeah.
So that'll help you to improve and remember the vocabulary that you used.
Yeah, definitely. You can also sort of, in your journal or diary that you make, that is the biggest recommendation, by the way. You should have a journal or diary. At the beginning of the day, you can write down 4 or 5 of the words that you have in your vocabulary bank or vocabulary library, right? Let's say you have 100 words, just pick any random 4 and promise yourself you'll try to use these 4 words in the day when you're having a conversation with your friends or when you're taking a session at Clapingo, whatever it is. When you put that into your mind, your brain will try to find excuses to use that word, right? Obviously, you have to be careful which words you use, which words you pick in the beginning. But I think keep experimenting, keep trying new things, because you never know what will work for you. Okay, there are lots of exercises online and that can be presented to you by our tutors as well. So yeah, I think keep exploring. That's what I would like to say. Okay. Oh, now we have so many questions. Asha, thank you so much. That is a lot of love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. What question do we have? What are the essential grammar which we should learn to become a good communicator? Because it's very difficult to learn our grammar. Rishi, it depends on what your goals are. If you're trying to be, you should set short-term goals for yourself firstly. Okay. Something like, in the next 1 or 2 months, I want to be able to have a basic conversation. Or in the next 3 months, I want to be able to write a good story or article, right? So a lot of people have facing issues in a particular aspect of English, whether it's, reading, writing, listening, understanding, or speaking. These are 5 aspects that we always try to focus on. Give yourself a grade on all 5 things and see what you need to work on the most. All right. Start off with that and then ask specific questions. When I want to improve my writing, what do I do? When I want to focus on increasing my vocabulary while having a conversation, like a spoken English, what can I do to improve that, right? When you sort of segregate your skills in these segments, it becomes much easier for you to find the answer. Okay. I know your question is what is like the most essential form of grammar that you need to know to be a good communicator, but I don't think there is a correct answer for this, right, Chitra?
The more specific you are, is it Rishi?
Yes.
The person who's asked the question. Yeah. So thanks for the question, Rishi. I think I completely agree with Divyam about setting goals. And the more specific your goals are, the more you're likely to achieve them. So if you're, yeah, of course, we need grammar, we need functional language for conversations. But what kind of conversation are you thinking about? Of course, you may be thinking of various types of conversation. So is it a conversation with your colleague? Or is it a conversation with someone, the stranger, with a new person, getting to know the person, getting and introducing yourself? So the more specific you are, regarding your goals, whether it be in conversations or reading or writing, the more likely you are to achieve them. And so you need different types of grammar, different types of functional language for these different types of conversations or discussions. And so it'll make it easier for you to focus on them. And if you are learning, if you are learning English from a platform or with a teacher, it'll also be easier for you to communicate to the teacher. So, ma'am, this is what I want to learn, rather than just saying, ma'am, I want to improve my conversation skills.
Yeah, it doesn't help us because we don't know
Right.
what exercises to give you or how to do it, and then we have to spend another 5-10 minutes to assess you or to try to find out what
Yeah.
you need help in, right? So like
Absolutely.
I said, the more
Yeah.
specific you are, the more, you can't just come into my house and say, can you fix this house? You need to tell me what is wrong with it. You need to tell me, okay, I need to fix, there is an odor over
And
here
what you
that I need to.
need, what is
Exactly.
your requirement? What will
Yeah.
be useful for you? The more you share that with us, the more we can help you.
Yeah. I think, Chitra, we've answered most of the questions. Okay.
Okay.
We have more coming in. I think we can take one more. Chitra, do you have access to the chat? Can you see them?
Yeah, I'll just take a look right now. I'm not. Yeah, is it the one about memorizing?
Yeah, you can decide whichever question you want to answer, but unfortunately, we can only answer one more before we sign off.
The last one is memorizing words when we are speaking. Okay, yeah, idioms too. Okay, that's a very popular topic. So, like I said earlier, don't memorize, rather use them. Because if you memorize them, then the minute you start speaking and you want to use those words, you say, there'll be that long hesitation when you're trying. So rather than that, choose the words that you want to use in a week. Like we said, choose 6 or 10 words, write them down. Maybe you can even save them in your mobile, which is always with you. Keep looking at the words, keep looking at the words and keep using them. The more you use them, the more they'll come to you very naturally. You won't have to remember. They'll be at your fingertips or at the tip of your tongue. They'll just you pop out whenever you need it. But important thing is you have to use them actively, not just write them down and try to memorize them. That probably won't work. And same goes for idioms. The IELTS incidentally gives importance to using idioms, especially in the speaking test. To get a higher score, it's nice if you can use idiomatic language, and you can follow the same strategy that we discussed. Two idioms, so it differs for different people, right? Some people can learn more number of words. Like I would personally choose maybe 5 or 6 words, definitely not more. And by words, we're not just talking about single words, maybe a phrase, maybe an idiom, maybe a phrasal verb, whatever it be. Just choose. Again, it comes back to the specificity. So just choose the ones that you want to incorporate, that you want to make part of your vocabulary. Record them and keep looking at them. Have a notebook or a notepad or on your mobile phone. Keep looking at them so that you remember to use them. And I feel the more general they are, the more likely you are to use them. So if you like you have if you are thinking of a very particular, I'm going to use a very cliched idiom, like it's raining cats and dogs. You can use that only when it's raining. You can't use it, I mean, there's no other context. But if you choose a more general idiom, like looking at the big picture, let's look at the big picture, there'll be more situations where you can use it, right? So pick up more general kind of vocabulary and idioms, I would say. And yeah, just try to remember them and use them as often as possible, both in speaking and if possible in writing also. That also helps. Writing, I mean, actually including it in a piece of writing will help you to remember. Not just as isolated words, but as part of a text.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chitra ma'am. We'll be signing off, guys. I can see all the questions. I'm so sorry, but we need to end the live now. Thank you so much for all the love. Ma'am, do you have anything to say before we sign off?
Well, I really want to wish all the students, whether they be students of general English or business English is their area of interest, or IELTS, all the very best. And I'd say they're absolutely on the right track. The very fact that they joined this program today, that they're participating so well, shows their interest and their motivation. So keep it up, guys. And I'm sure you'll, like I said earlier, like you'll achieve all your goals and make all your dreams come true.
Yep.
So lots of love and prayers.
Hopefully we'll be able to help you in that journey to get there quicker. Another thing, guys, what we will be doing is once this video goes on to YouTube as a normal video, not a live video, I'll be editing the description. We'll be adding our Facebook group link. You'll be able to see that in our chat right now, and a website that you can use. Chitra ma'am, can you just give us like a 10-second summary about this website for IELTS?
Well, the authorized website for IELTS, I would say the most standardized is the one from IELTS.org. That's the home of IELTS. It is a website which allows you to register for the test, which gives you all the information you need about the IELTS and also gives you material, free material, practice material. So that is IELTS.org. Then, of course, the IDP Australia is the company. I mean, IELTS is managed by Cambridge Assessments and IDP Australia. So the IDP IELTS website is also an absolute, you can go there and refer. Again, you have free practice materials and information and any, updations, any changes that are happening in the test. So I heard there are some changes that may be happening in June. All these things will come on the IDP IELTS website. So these are two essential websites that you have to refer to if you're planning to write IELTS.
Okay, guys, you heard it. We've already mentioned how you can access these. You can go to the description in the video once the video is posted on YouTube. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. We see all the hearts and flowers and all the thank yous. We love you and we want to help you in every way possible. Thank you so much for the love and the support. Yeah, I think that's it. We tried to answer as much as we could, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thanks.
Take care, guys, and put in your questions in the comments once this video is posted. Feel free to do that. We will answer them as soon as possible. Okay. Thank you so much. We'll be ending the live now. It was very nice talking to all of you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.